Do you want to hear the second half of that podcast?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. While we have a moment of.
Echo, turn off.
For free shipping on your order. The Santa Cruz police are just late. Tired of opening your closet and seeing the same old clothes from last year? Well, refreshing your wardrobe with new pieces that you just can't wait to show off is an easy way to switch things up and get a little confidence boost. Quince makes it simple, much more. Shop confidently, knowing all Quince items are priced
Hurry up.
every bodysuit that they make. That's QUINCE.com/CrimeJunkie to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/CrimeJunkie. On April 23rd, 1973, the Santa Cruz police are just beyond shocked when they get a call from Ed Kemper because their buddy, Big Ed, tells them an extraordinarily disturbing story. He says that he's killed his own mother, who he's been living with ever since he was released from that hospital back in 1969. He tells them about how he waited for his mom to fall asleep before sneaking into her bedroom to bludgeon her to death with a claw hammer.
Oh, God.
As if that's not brutal enough, Ed tells them that he cut out her tongue and larynx and put them in the garbage disposal before cutting her head off and using it for dart practice.
What the
Ed
fuck?
also says that he engaged in sexual activity with his mom's severed head.
Ugh.
Now, this is just
I'm glad they didn't go into
beyond
detail.
comprehension all on its own. But Ed goes on to tell them that he's also murdered his mom's best friend Sally and cut her head off too, and that police will find her body.
This is not gory for me, just so you're aware.
Yeah, this isn't God comparing
No,
anything. I
no,
mean,
it's
stuff I've
even
seen.
that
They're
you're like,
just telling you the.
yeah, no, that doesn't bother me. What
The fact.
bothers me is the descriptive
Yeah, I don't
language.
need to relive
Yeah,
the evil of it.
exactly. I don't
Um,
need to know the details exactly.
And
like
I'm
that.
not excusing his behavior at all. I just think that serial killers are made. And if you go back into the history of this guy, she terrible abused him.
Yeah, I bet.
And she would like lock
Well,
him
there's
in
a
dark
reason why he
basement.
lived with his grandparents.
Yeah, she like would say, you look just like your dad, and lock him in a dark basement at night because he was big, and she would like tell him, I'm afraid you're going to hurt or abuse your
Yeah.
sister. But he was just a little kid.
Yeah.
In his head, and she was being locked in this dark basement. Who knows what else? And of course, everybody else loved her. She was beloved.
Yeah.
Teacher,
Uh-huh.
but she was cruel and awful to him. And I'm not at all excusing anything he did. But in the end, after he killed all of these people, once he killed her, that solved it inside for him. Like all along, he just
Wanted to kill her the whole
needed to kill
time.
her. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Again, not at all excusing this
Right,
absolute monster, but I'm just saying, like, it's just crazy how people can completely ruin their kids. Like,
Yes.
They might already be predisposed. There might be genes that make you already be like psychotic or whatever, but some
Right.
people can use that for good. Like it just because you're predisposed to something doesn't ever.
I mean,
make
you could
evil
become
okay.
you could become a
Navy SEAL.
Exactly. You
Or
could become
whatever,
someone
right?
who uses it for the good
Exactly.
of the society or whatever.
Right.
Can you do me a favor and move the green medicine, all three of them?
Ed says they can't come arrest him in Santa Cruz because he's actually in Pueblo, Colorado, where he took off after killing his mom and her friend. According to the Santa Cruz Sentinel, he says police need to come get him before he goes on a killing spree and takes even more lives. Now, at first, and you're not going to believe this, police think it's just a phone call. I mean, it's not a very funny one, but they know Ed. He's a nice guy. He's totally harmless. So they hang up and brush it off. It actually takes Ed calling back, and this time he asked to speak to one cop in particular, someone that he knows pretty well, and someone that he thinks will take him seriously.
So what makes them finally understand that he's not kidding about this?
So
They went to the house?
ends up giving them
Right.
details about the crime that only the killer would know. And little by little, it finally starts to sink in for police. This is no joke. This is real. And the police know that they have one chance to stop the killer. And even Ed himself seems to understand that he needs to be stopped. Because as the Colorado Springs Gazette-Telegraph reported, he said he, quote, just got to worrying about the murders, end quote. So they're clearly weighing on him, staying on his mind, and he knows that he's never going to be able to stop. And at some point, it's got to catch up with him. Even though they're reeling from Ed's confession and how he's describing these heinous law enforcement out in Colorado where he is. They work fast to locate the phone booth that Ed's calling from, and the Pueblo police make an arrest. Meanwhile, the police back in Santa Cruz
Ugh, I can smell my chickens.
where Ed's been living with his mom, and sure enough,
I meant to
just like
change
he
their
said,
hay before I
they
came
find
here,
his
but I was
mom
like
killed
rushing,
body
trying to get
and
out the door.
Sally stuffed in the closet.
And that was the one thing I forgot.
As shocking as this all is, Ed isn't done. Because once he's in police custody, he also says that he's the one who's been killing all of those hitchhiking students. He's claiming to be the co-ed killer that's held Santa Cruz in terror for months. The Santa Cruz DA and other law enforcement officers hurry up to Colorado to pick Ed up and bring him back to California to answer for his crimes. To their surprise and horror, Ed's not only willing to talk, but he's almost eager, like it's a relief to tell the truth and kind of unburden himself from all of these feelings.
Yeah, I was gonna ask what his demeanor was during all this. Like, was it just as cool and collected as when he had confessed to killing his grandparents?
Yeah, cool, calm, collected. I mean, again, I think there was a little bit maybe of frazzle, like him knowing that, again, it's going to catch up with him. He's never going to be able to stop. But, again, it was more of this unburdening, like, oh, I can finally tell someone what I've been really doing and who I really am. Biography.com reported that Ed tells police that he'd been planning his actions for years, pretty much as soon as he got out of that mental hospital. He said he bought a car and made his own kill kit with things like handcuffs and plastic bags, but the urge wasn't out of control yet. He still was very organized, so he waited. By Ed's own estimate, he says that he picked up somewhere around 150 female hitchhikers around Santa Cruz and the nearby counties between.
I can't believe anyone would get in the car with him.
Because he was so huge.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
But it sounds like he was like had a
Still,
gentle demeanor.
I don't care.
I agree
I
with
would-
you, but especially like you figure, what is he in the early 70s? Like this kind of shit just didn't happen.
I'm not sure know why, but a little part of me wonders if he was practicing. How can I act that makes these people calm? Well, how do they act? Like what startles them? I mean, he was studying his prey, and he was learning the same way he learned in prison and figured out how to act.
Right.
When he started his killing with Marianne and Anita, Ed says that he took them back to his mother's house and dismembered them both, engaging in sexual activity with their bodies before disposing of pieces of them in the Santa Cruz Mountains.
I know you said earlier that they found Marianne's skull, but what about Anita? Did they ever find her body?
So to this day, no trace of her has ever been found, despite some pretty intense searches. Both Anita and Marianne set up Ed's patterns and his proclivities, though, and as he tells police, between May of 72 and April of 73, he killed 8 women. Ed confesses to being responsible for some of the disappearances of some of the hitchhiking co-eds who went missing, while Herb was still also doing his killings in the area. He said that what he would do is he would use his official campus parking pass that he got from his mom to lure his victims into this false sense of security. Like, oh yeah, I go here too. Like,
Fellow student, yeah, totally comfortable.
exactly, I'm the same as you. He talked to them once they got in the car, learned their names, made polite conversation, seemed like a perfectly normal guy, right up until it was too late. Just like with his mom and Sally, Anita, and Marianne, Ed's able to give highly detailed accounts of how he killed Aiko, Cindy, Rosalind, and Allison, and he tells investigators where parts of their bodies still are. Now, although parts of Cindy's body washed up on the shore, police don't find her head until Ed actually takes them to where it's buried. And it's buried in his mother's backyard. With every passing story, it becomes more and more obvious to law enforcement just how wrong they were about their big buddy Ed. And I won't go into the details about the...
I don't think she was going to say this, but I've just read a lot about this.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you know who John Douglas is, but he was like one of the guys that started they call it behavioral science now, but it used to be like the profiling department at the FBI.
Mm-hmm.
So he wrote all these books, and anyways, he was like the first agent really that went in when they did like the whole learning, like the whole
Studying.
like when they call
profile.
behavior like profilers out, they use like these test subjects to write their books,
Mm-hmm.
and Ed Kemper was one of them. But anyways, that part where he buried the girl in his mom's backyard, there's like additional notations and like deeper studies, and he said to the cops that the reason why he buried her face up is because his mother always wanted people to look up to her, and like he threw her larynx in the garbage disposal because she was always quote bitching at him.
Mhm.
So like like they're just kind of doing the whole case, but it kind
He
of goes back
like decimated
it was-
everything she did.
It was about her. Yeah,
Yeah.
all of his hatred, all of his ruin. Even though he still was responsible for all his own actions, but everything that grew ugly inside of him was because of her.
Mm-hmm. Dude, that like makes me like. That's always been a thing that I fear with being a mother, is
You know, I think you just can't
hitting
you
the
have,
roulette of like that. You know.
No, you have if you love your kids, even if you screw up, you yell at them. We all screw up with our kids. We don't make dinner on time. We don't always make the best food choices, whatever it is. But it's that wickedness, like when you know your child's suffering or hurting or scared, and you let them be.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that causes that break.
Yeah, I've never done that ever.
No.
Elliot has never
No.
been in fear.
That's
Ever.
cool. No, he's
You
not.
guys know you could do that?
Oh,
What is that? A straw?
straw.
That's awesome. That's convenient. Guess what your new job is around the house?
Strawberry
Guess what-
thinger.
Because
That's
Just
really
trying to make some noise.
really inventive.
one of the most
I was just trying to make some noise.
disturbed killers. I mean, it's so
Okay, the
gross.
sticker
So
in the
much
middle.
dismembering,
What, darling?
necrophilia. I mean,
Archer's
horrible
starting
stuff
to make
that
some
can
He's showing us
Okay.
how.
as deviance escalates. But with Ed, it almost seems like it was
Yeah.
there from the very beginning.
You could eat the tube though.
Behind the gentle giant exterior was a monster capable of acts that almost
Don't forget to
defied
eat
the
the tube.
imagination.
And none of them ever suspect him. Like, he was never on any of their radar as, like, a possible person of interest.
No, never. It's super jarring for these seasoned cops to realize that they got so fooled, you know? Because as they know now, whenever they talk about the case, Ed wasn't listening to be polite. He was listening to
Yeah, you just gotta be pretty,
and to
like,
stay
right through
one
the
step
middle.
ahead of them.
I think this goes back to a crime done rule of you never really know anybody.
I think that was our first rule. You never know anyone, ever. As police keep investigating into the murders and the DA prepares the case over the summer of '73, which, by the way, actually also happens to be about the same time that Herb's trial starts. And the trial starts with the revelation that Herb killed Mary and cut off her head.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't one of the ones that he was tried for. So his lawyer's opening statement just kind of drops that little factoid, along with admitting that Herb also killed Lawrence White and, you know, beat that priest to death back in '72. So, I mean, the way they throw it in was like, oh, no big deal, just bring my client's body count up to 13 instead of, like, what you already charged him for. Anyway, so at the same time Herb's trial is going on, the Santa Cruz detectives also start digging into Ed's background to see what they can find out about him. And they want the truth this time, not the illusion of the nice guy, because in order to understand his motives and what drove him to do such horrific things, police know that they have to go back to the beginning. And they have to learn everything there is to know.
I hear him. He's okay.
about Ed Kemper.
This podcast is brought to you by Kleenex Lotion
The
Tissues.
4 feet.
You can't predict sick days and flu symptoms. One less thing to
He
worry.
wants some.
You can go in your room and play.
Talk about his crimes doesn't fade, and he starts giving interviews
mean,
in
Archer's
prison
fine.
before his trial even
Well, in a bit.
starts. Between the interviews as well as numerous interrogations, police are able to dig deeper and deeper into Ed's background in the months leading up to his trial. They learn that
He's in there vocalizing.
right from the minute he was born.
Talking.
Weighed a whopping
Mhm.
13 pounds as he was born in 1940.
He weighed 13 pounds?
Yeah.
I mean, this shocked both his dad, who was Ed II, and his mom, Parnell, because while they were both tall, neither of them expected to have a son anywhere near this size. The difference between Ed and other kids only
You're gonna get your teeth brushed, buddy, and get ready to go now.
I love it. He looks so cute. See, I told you. I bet you're excited to go now.
A little bit.
Very pretty, baby.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. It's the Springfield office. So let me find out where that is exactly.
Oh wait, so it's not.
It's in Springfield.
Sammy, that is a question for YouTube.
What?
It's just one of those. I woke up on August 1st I was getting 600 people in the chat at a time. I woke up on August 1st and there were 20 people in my chat, maybe 30, and that's all there have been since August 1st. So, anyone's guess is as good as mine. Okay, play.
Oh.
Intensified as he got older, because there was really no way around the fact that Ed was a weird kid, a fact that he himself admits to in custody. His mom was both highly domineering and fond of belittling her son. She was, quote, a complete alcoholic psycho, according to Ed's half-brother David. Although he got along well with his dad, Ed and his mom had an increasingly toxic relationship. And Katie Dowd reported for SFK that by the time Ed turned 8, his mom was totally convinced that Ed was going to molest his sisters. And so she took to barring him down to the basement to isolate him from the rest of the family.
As an
Okay,
8-year-old.
so
Yeah.
It was a different time, and the dialogue around mental health and child psychology was totally different than what it is today. And I'm never going to claim to be an expert, but I've gone through a ton of trauma-informed training in foster parenting, and like isolation is one of the worst things you can do to a child psychologically. Like,
That's what my mom did to
anyone
me.
try to give this kid any help? Like, take him to a therapist?
Cry it
or
out
anything?
method.
Not that I could find, no.
Tie me up
And,
with things.
you know, in
Leave
spite
you
of this,
there.
because of this, Ed's behavior only continues to get stranger as he gets older, and it gets even stranger after his parents divorced. Now, his mom moves Ed and his sisters to Montana, hundreds of miles away from his dad back in California. Now, Ed's always had a bad relationship with his mom, but the divorce and being taken so far away from his dad makes the relationship much worse, and his violent tendencies start to manifest in earnest. By age 10, Ed's torturing and killing family pets, which, as we know, is a huge red flag of antisocial behavior.
Right.
He tells authorities how he liked to play make-believe with his two sisters, but instead of making up stories about castles or dinosaurs or normal things that you'd expect from little kids, Ed's favorite games were electric chair and gas chamber, where he pretended to die in really horrible ways. He would also mutilate his sister's dolls and talk about killing his teachers. While Ed's cruelty to animals continues, he hasn't hurt either of his sisters by the time he runs away at age 13.
So on your maps,
Yeah.
you're gonna look up Oakmont Family Dental.
Is it not by the chiropractor?
I just got a message from somebody on TikTok who basically wanted to let me know that the person who runs the Reddit is insane, and that person is obsessed with me, and that they're about to make a Reddit snark group on her because she's so unhinged. Apparently, in that Reddit group, no one is allowed to message each other. If you get caught messaging and Freya's not there, you get banned. And there's a Discord apparently too, where all they talk about is me 24/7. And people are getting mad at her. People are starting to get mad at Freya in the Reddit apparently. I'm just repeating what I was told. They said that people are getting mad at Freya in the Reddit because she will not stop going IRL, in real life. She won't stop calling CPS. She won't stop contacting all of my friends and family. Like, this person said that Freya told them to start hunting me down. She's assigning people jobs to seek out all of my friends and family. And she posted on the Facebook in the Eugene, Oregon, she made a Facebook post she made a Facebook group and then made a post in that calling me a scammer, saying that I'm like scamming people and stuff like that, which is weird because like, I don't remember asking you guys for anything in a while. Like if I needed gas money, I would ask you, I would say, I need $10. Does anybody happen to have $10 that can spare to go to gas? I'm not ashamed of asking for help when I do need it. So like, but that's not scamming. Like, I ask for help, it's because I need help, and then I'm going to use what I got the help for, you know? So it's just interesting how all this stuff comes together when it's just a sad, desperate person. Oh, and they also said that Freya is from Great Britain. She has a British accent. You know that it's not, there's no free speech in Great Britain. You can't say whatever you want. I wonder if I could contact the authorities over there. Because they'll literally go to your house and knock on your door and threaten to take you to jail for talking bad about someone on social media. Like, that happens there. So it would be interesting to explore. It looks so good.
Feels good.
It looks really good. Would you just look at this beautiful work that I'm doing?
Don't let me get it on camera.
I won't. Would you just
that's
look
too
at
hot.
this beautiful work?
Always beautiful work.
So her hair, this is what her hair is like. And so everything I've built.
So pretty. Pretty job for mama.